I would like to introduce Dawn Marie Lemonds, and she actually is coming here from California. Christina came from all the way from Washington, D.C., but Dawn Marie is a native Californian living in Tucson. She has got an MS in special education and has worked with the Department of Developmental Services for over 41 years. She has a multitude of capacities, and she is president of Soroptimist International of the Americas in 2017. She is an international project liaison for Project Independence, Women Survivors of War International Program for Soroptimist International. And in 2007 to 11, she was the SIB Voices podcast host for the 100th anniversary in 2021. She has a wealth of information to give us in 7 minutes, but we're going to do our best. So without further ado, can we please introduce and give a warm welcome to Dawn Marie Lemonds.
Hi, thank you all for inviting me. Thank you, Governor Suzanne. And it's just been so interesting hearing the rest of you talk. I just want to know more about what each of you do. I'm learning a lot. This presentation was written by past International President Maureen McGuire. She gives regrets that she wasn't able to be here. So this was one of the projects she chose of 5 projects for her opening doors in a bright future. And she did a project in each of the 5 federations. And this one was the last one that was started in Paraguay. So that's our very own federation. The project is in a place called Mbaracayu Educational Center in Paraguay. And it's located on a natural reserve on 64,000 hectares and includes the last remnants of the Atlantic forest of Alto Paraná. There's a school there called the Fundacion Moises Bertoni, and it's a not-for-profit organization, and they've been in place actually for 30 years. We joined with them because we really wanted them to increase education for girls. This is in a rural area. It brings girls and boys from the whole country of Paraguay. And we joined forces with them to participate in 2 of their education programs. One of them is a sports activities program. The other one is an environmental education training program. So, of course, with every international project, we have outcomes that we're working toward. The first goal that we wanted to accomplish was in the recreational sports activity. Given that these girls are in such a rural area, this isn't even something available to them. So this was to give them a place to study in the forest and participate actually in sports. Secondly, and something that's already been mentioned by both of the other speakers, it's to reduce the opportunity gap in rural areas by integrating sport and allowing students to connect with other local regions and break their isolation that they experience. It also promotes the prevention of different types of violence against women of girls and women, and creating awareness from sports. And finally, and this is the one most oriented to the environment, is to develop a new set of skills that empower young women and young people in general to raise a new generation of environmental youth leaders and agents of change. So the sports program included 120 people, 70% of them were girls and 30% boys. It was in a brand new multi-purpose sports field that they've been trying to build for years and years and years, and use sports as a way to accomplish the goals I've talked about. So in addition to playing the competitive sports of soccer and handball and volleyball, etc., there was the additional benefit, of course, of that intrinsic physical and mental health that you accomplish with that social interaction together and participation. They were also given their sports clothing and regulation balls. I think that's probably really important. I'm not a sports person, but I think that's important. They were given nutrition training and sports healthy eating and the importance of healthy types of food, hydration, etc. And finally, and this was very cool, they were had professional athletes come in and talk about sports careers and the importance of professional achievements in sports and discipline and values of sports. Now, the second program, which is the one I think we're most interested in for this panel, is the Youth Environment Camp, which is an annual program. This year, 38 people participated, between 16 and 21 years old. 79% were female and 21% were male. The camp activities were like a typical camp. They were outside most of the time unless the weather was too hot or too wet. And in those cases, they went inside. The content was very, very structured, and they had a very complicated program for enter into it. So everybody that came to the camp already had a strong interest in being an environment leader. And so they had two different streams that they could enter into that. And there were many, many topics covered. And I'll tell you what, I read the list and I didn't even know what some of them meant, but I'll just tell you a few of them. Environmental interpretation, environmental situation, climate change. And now all of you that know what that is, congratulations. Apparently, it's a computer-based language often used to build websites and analyze data. They're already beyond me. Waste and waste management and everything related to that. Very, very important, of course, in Indigenous areas. Agrometeorology, which is the study of weather and use of climate information to enhance or expand agricultural crops and obviously to increase crop production. Tourism and nature, hiking. And then the last one that I really don't know what it means is integration dynamics. And the only thing I could find out was this is another source of data integration analysis with Microsoft. So, of course, the goals of this camp were twofold. One was to increase the campers' knowledge of the environment, to be good stewards of the environment, and two, to encourage the youth to pursue environmental careers, advocacy, and action. So what do the kids say? Well, 93% of them said it was very good, and 6.7 said it was good. So that's pretty good. They liked the inclusion of Indigenous communities and also the ability to get to know the Mbaracayu Reserve. Follow-up has been done with the program, and several of the students have gone into careers and education related to environment. And I just wanted to share one story of one of the youth that went through the program. She's now an active member of the Youth Network for Climate Action in Paraguay and is in the Youth Network for Water. Additionally, she's involved in a very significant project as a staff member of the local conference of the Youth Paraguay 2024 conference and contributes to extension projects at the university. She gives talks and support in her area which is environmental education to children and adolescents. So this is clear that this program was so stimulating and important for her. The last thing I wanted to share is past President Maureen was happy to let you know that because our Soroptimist members were so generous, she's able to fund two things: another series of camps for this year in 2024. And so more girls will get that education, and they're going to rebuild the toilets, which I think is also very important. So thank you so much for letting me share.
Thank you, thank you. There we go. I have one quick question here for you before we get on to our last speakers. And here's the question for you, Dawn Marie. What are some suggestions you have for members and clubs to expand their outreach to youth to help promote education about the environment and possible projects they could do, Even just one idea would be great.
I think it's so important that we add this as a new kind of pillar of learning for ourselves. We need to, first of all, we need to be educated about environment. We live in this world. So how can we apply what we learn in each of the projects we do? My club does a Dream It Be It session. Could we include a Dream It Be It session specifically on some aspect of environment? And oh my goodness, there's so many different aspects of environment. So I think, first of all, we need to get educated. Secondly, we need to pass it on and incorporate it into the programs we do.
My name is Nancy McCurra, and I'm a Soroptimist International, the Tri-City. And I'm also an elected official and a city councillor for the city of Portland. And one of my designations is the environment. And I just want to say how delighted I am and how my heart is just beating in joy to see that the teachers are doing all this in the schools. And I'd love to give them a round of applause. Thank you. And you're absolutely right. Children can change the world. And if we plant these, seeds of hands-on, they're truly going to make a difference. We did a project in our city, which is something near and dear to me, and it was with a rain garden, building a rain garden in a park. And we had 2 rain barrels on either side. So I campaigned or implemented within our city. It took a while to get my male counselors on board to order rain barrels. So we have just had our first Earth Day. We had 50 rain barrels. They sold out within, I would say, 2 hours. And we had them greatly reduced in price, $56 instead of, I don't know if they were 100 or so.
Something like that.
So, and then another booth, it was at Earth Day, we had the children. And the children were there planting a sunflower seed in a peat container so they could take it home and watch it grow and see it germinate. So I'm very, very thankful for what I'm seeing here today. Thank you for the time.
I just wanted to interject one idea, and then I need to leave. I have another meeting in 15 minutes I have to drive to. But the thing I want to suggest is such a simple thought, and that is we need to focus our work to doing with, not for. We need to include people we're working with, let children teach us, let adults teach us, and make sure that Indigenous people are part of the equation and rural people are part of the equation. So we are ensuring the continuity of education because we've included them authentically and not just doing another service project for them. So thank you very much for letting me come, and I'm sorry I have to go. Have a great rest of your conference.